Hello, my name is Kai, and I'm here to talk to you about the 2019 30% federal solar tax credit. Let me begin by saying I am not a tax professional. I'm here to just explain to you how the federal solar tax credit may apply to you should you purchase a solar system. Please consult with your own tax professional to find out how, if at all, you can monetize the federal tax credit. So what is this thing? For the sake of argument, you've done some research, you've decided solar is for you, and you purchase a system that costs $20,000. Well, simple math tells you 30% of $20,000 is $6,000. So you have a $6,000 one-for-one tax credit against your tax liability. So that's quite a mouthful. What does that mean? What that means is that if you have tax liability, $6,000 of that liability will be offset by this tax credit. So let's look at a concrete example to see exactly how this works in practice. We have Jack and Jill. Their W-2 income is $75,000 over the course of the year. They have $25,000 worth of deductions, so their taxable income is $50,000. For the sake of argument, let's say they're in the 20% tax bracket, so that means their tax liability is $10,000. So if we stop right there, we say, aha, you've got tax liability of $10,000, but you have a credit of $6,000. That means your revised tax liability is now $4,000. Pretty straightforward. But how does this apply in terms of what you owe versus what you get back from the government? Let's see if we can figure that out. Again, we're making some assumptions. I'm not a tax professional. I'm just trying to illustrate this example. Jack and Jill are really smart. They sat down at the beginning of the year and they figured out they were going to earn about $75,000. They'd have about $25,000 in deductions. Their taxable income would be about 50 grand and they'd owe 10,000. So they said, okay, let's have our employees withhold from our paychecks an amount equal to $10,000 so that at the end of the year, at tax time, they would owe nothing and they would get no money back from the government. So they have had this $10,000 withheld from their checks through the course of the year. Come tax time, they owe nothing, they get nothing back. But during the course of the year, they bought a solar system and they have a $6,000 credit. So that means their tax liability is actually $4,000. But wait a minute, they've had $10,000 withheld from their checks. So they get a check back from Uncle Sam for $6,000. Pretty sweet. Now let's say for the sake of argument that Jack and Jill decided rather than have the government hold $10,000 of their money over the course of the year and earn the interest, they were going to set up a savings account. And every month they would withhold from their checks, so they would take from their checks and drop into the savings account an amount that at the end of the year would equal $10,000. So they have no money withheld from their checks, and that means at tax time they owe $10,000. No problem, because they have their savings account where all this money's sitting, ready to write the check to Uncle Sam on April 14th. But they bought a solar system during the course of the year, and that gives them a $6,000 credit. So actually, their liability is no longer $10,000, it's now $4,000 because they have the credit. So the $10,000 that was sitting in the bank, all they have to send out to the government is $4,000, which means they have $6,000 sitting in the bank for them to use as they would so desire. Pretty sweet. The bottom line is, 2019, there's a 30% federal tax credit. In 2020, that drops by 4% to 26%. And then the following year, it drops by another 4% to 22%. So 2019 is the ideal year to maximize your tax credits. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. Straight Up Solar, we are your partners on the solar journey. Thank you.